Hello, welcome back. In this video, I am going to talk about tuple data structure. This data structure is exactly similar to list except the fact that we cannot modify it like we can do in the list. So then why do we need another data structure? So there are a couple of things we can do. That is, the length of the tuple is always fixed. Once we declare it, we cannot modify it, so we already know the size of the tuple. So that is sometimes helpful when you write some efficient programming for the memory allocation and all. Also sometimes we actually don't want to modify our data structure. For example, let's say I have one location with a pin code and I don't want to modify the pin code at all. In that case also we want to use tuple data structure. So let's see how we can work with the tuples. So the way we write tuples is like the variable name. Let's say my variable is location is equal to, it's a parenthesis, normal parenthesis, and 221 B Baker Street. So this is my tuple. So if I check the type of this variable, so this is a tuple data structure. We can access the elements exactly same like a list. So if I do like loc.0, it will give me 221, and if I do like if blank or 0 to 2, it will give me 221 till B, and it will not include the 2 index number 2. It will not include, so I will get 221 and B back. Similar way we can use the negative index as well. So location of -1 is going to give me the Baker Street, the last element of it. And similarly location dot, let's say from 0 to -1, so this is actually same as 0 to 2, right? So it is going to give me 221 B. Now let's say I want to modify my tuples. Is there any way we can do it? Yes, of course. So we can modify the element by converting into a list, and then we can modify it. But if I directly want to modify any element, it is going to give me an error. Let's say I want to modify this first position 221 to 220. It is going to give me one error, that type error, tuple object does not support item assignments. That means we cannot modify it actually. So what we can do is, let's say I have one temporary variable temp, and I can convert into a list, and the way we can convert is using this, and this is basically typecasting, and we can pass the location. So now if I check the temp, it is 221 B Baker Street, but see this output, this has a square bracket. So if I check the type of temp, it is actually a list. Now I can modify it. So temp of 0, let's say I want to make it 220. So now if I check the temp, it is 220 B Baker Street. Now again I can modify it to location. So location tuple, and again I am typecasting the temp. So now if I check the location, it is 220 B Baker Street. Alright, now we cannot modify tuple, but what we can do is I can entirely change the tuple. What I mean by that is, let's say my tuple is like this, and what I can do is I can change it to another tuple, let's say 1 2 3, and this is allowed. So I can change the entirely, but I cannot perform any operations that we can perform in list. So let me check my temp. So this is my temp list, and what I can do is temp dot append, and let's say I want to append 1. So my list is now updated with 1, but what I cannot do is location dot append 1. So it will give me one error, attribute error, that tuple object has no attribute called append, right? So that is why we cannot do that. We cannot extend as well. So in list, what I can do is extend. It is another function. that let's say I have another list called 1 2 3. So what I can do is I can extend the list, and my new list is right. This is also not allowed in tuple. So in location dot extend another tuple, let's say 1 2 3, we cannot do that because this has no attribute called extend. Another thing is allowed in tuple. This is my tuple now, and what I can do is location multiplied by 5. So I will get another tuple with 5 times 1 2 3. So that is actually allowed in the tuple as well. This is what we have seen in the list section as well, and same thing is allowed in tuple. So that is it for now. Thanks for watching the video.